Chapter 226. The subordinate nodded. Then he turned around and left, and not long after, he was in the manor. All the wizards who could still fight in Yaxley came out, wands pointing to the sky. All protection covers the manor. The aqua-blue film looks much thicker than the one in Diagon Alley. Chief Yaxley came to the study. Call the fireplace. Soon, in flames, graphics appear. In the image, it is Solent. Ellen Solent leaned lazily on the sofa, looking casually towards the fireplace. Explain. Yaxley knelt on the ground. Merciful master, damn Cavendi, together with Malfoy and Parkinson, launched a pure-blood family war against Yaxley. Please help me, master. Otherwise, Yaxley will have danger of destruction. After hearing this, Alan had a surprised look on his face. Sitting up straight. Oh, so fun? Tell me about it. Yaxley told Sauron everything. Sauron said coldly, Idiot. His purpose from the beginning was to get you to tell the story of the pure-blood family war. But you actually stupidly got in. You are really stupid. Yaxley was speechless for a moment. He has reacted now, but he couldn't believe that Erwin would have such a thorough plan. He is only 11 years old. Sauron stroked the head of the dragon next to him. Interesting, how should I put it? It deserves to be called Cavendi? It's so interesting. It deserves to be the strongest of the 4 previous families. Even if it is a single generation, it can always maintain the title of the strongest. It seems that it is really worthy of it. Ah, so does his father, and so does he. I am becoming more and more interested in the bloodline of the Cavendi family. Can it increase people's wisdom? Or what? It's so interesting. Sauron had a sick smile on his face. Just like a psychopath. Yaxley was trembling, not daring to look at Sauron at all. After Sauron laughed, looking at Yaxley, You seem to be afraid of me? Yaxley lowered his head even lower. There is no master. I only have respect for you. Sauron said, I can't leave Germany at will, otherwise I will be targeted by some people. I will send someone to help you. He will join your Yaxley family. After hearing this, Chief Yaxley hesitated. A flash of red light flashed in Sauron's eyes. What? Do you have any objections? Chief Yaxley said quickly, No, just follow the master's orders. Sauron snorted coldly. I advise you not to have those small thoughts that you shouldn't have, otherwise you will know my methods. It will take an hour for the people I send to go there. Don't be killed so easily. Otherwise you yaks, there is no need for the Lee family to exist anymore. After saying that, Sauron hung up the microphone directly. The image above the fireplace slowly faded. Chief Yaxley sighed. Why didn't he know what Sauron meant? Send someone over to join the Yaxley family. After that, it was unclear who had the final say in the Yaxley family. But there was nothing he could do. With hundreds of wizards, the Yaxley family really couldn't stop them. Among the pureblood families, the Yaxley family has the largest number of people. This is also the reason why they can firmly occupy the top 3 pureblood families. But even so, they can't stop hundreds of wizards. They can only ask for help, and the bargaining chip for asking for help is the Yaxley family. A flash of hatred flashed in Yaxley's eyes. Cavendi, Malfoy, Parkinson, it's all your fault. You deserve to die. Solent family estate. A man in black robes came behind Alan. Master, can Yaxley stop them? Alan said, Who knows, but it should be possible. There is a treasure in the Yaxley family. Although it is an incomplete potion with side effects, at the critical moment, the old Yaxley won't think about that. As for the side effects, it's nothing more than death, and Yaxley's death is just the thing. The man in black robe nodded. Then who should we send there? Alan waved his hand. Just pick the one with the highest ranking among the guards and go there. Let this be my first confrontation with the orphan from Cavendi. Interesting. So interesting. It's a pity that I can't go there in person. I really want to see him. Alan's eyes were full of greed. A pair of eyes shone with an unusual red light. Advertisement, there was also a faint black energy starting to escape around him. The man in black couldn't help but tremble. He took a slight step back. Alan turned his head sharply. He opened his mouth. Are you afraid of me too? The man in black robe quickly knelt down. Don't dare, master. The black air around Alan slowly dissipated. Get down. The man in black robe left in a hurry. It seems that he is afraid that he will die there in the next second. Alan gently unbuttoned his clothes. Look at the position of your chest. There is a black and ferocious tattoo there, which is flashing red light. Alan took a deep breath. The tattoo gradually faded. Alan murmured, There isn't much time left. We have to speed up. Then Alan stood up and came to a wall. The wand in his hand was pointed at the wall. Then a dark corridor appeared. Alan walked in directly. Come to the bottom. There is a cage in the deepest part. Inside the cage was a snow-white creature. It's a unicorn. The unicorn was in particularly bad shape at this time. He leaned weakly against the cage. Alan came directly to the unicorn. A flick of the wand. A wound appeared. Silver-white blood flowed out. Sauron lay down directly and started sucking greedily. The unicorn no longer had the strength to resist. After a while, the last trace of life disappeared from the unicorn's eyes. Alan casually kicked the unicorn's body. It's something that cannot be banned. A unicorn can only last for half a month now. We have to find it again. I don't know where these births are hidden. It is getting harder and harder to find. Alan snapped his fingers and disappeared. In the dim dungeon, the candlelight flickered gently. Other side. Erwin and his people have arrived near the Yaxley family's manor. This time, he didn't bring anyone from the Cavendi family. After all, the next step is a general attack, and the people of the Cavendi family can only play a small role. If one or two people died, Erwin would be quite distressed. As for these wizards, who cares whether they live or die? If you die, you will consider it as a contribution to Erwin's career. Erwin can only say that he will not forget them, that's all. Looking at Yaxley Manor covered in blue light, Erwin sneered inwardly. Sure enough, this is the only way to attack in the wizarding world. However, all this protection is a bit troublesome. All these protections are much stronger than those in Diagon Alley. The number of people is also much greater. Erwin stood there with his hands behind his back, looking into the eyes of Patriarch Yaxley through the blue barrier. Seeing the murderous intent on the other person's face, Erwin sneered. Then he raised his hand and waved lightly. Chapter 227. The next second, all the wizards behind Erwin took action together, blasting hundreds of magic spells directly towards the blue barrier formed by their protection. But after touching the barrier, the magic spell exploded directly. It can only stir up ripples on the barrier. Erwin's brows furrowed slightly. This turtle shell is really a bit troublesome. In the original work, during the Battle of Hogwarts, professors and students jointly constructed all the protections. Even the numerous dark wizards under Voldemort could not defeat him. Later, it took Voldemort's full strength to crush it. After a wave of attacks, the head of the Yaxley family looked at Erwin proudly. He was sure that Erwin would never be able to break through all the protection. And when his helpers arrived, Erwin would definitely be the one who died. No, not only Erwin, everyone who came today will die. Malfoy, Parkinson, and worst of all Selwyn. They all have to die. Chief Yaxley's face was filled with murderous intent. Lucius came to Erwin. Our current numbers cannot break through this total protection. Although the remaining members of the Yaxley family are not strong enough, the total protection they jointly used cannot be broken by just a few of us. The total protection is the most powerful. This is where the trouble lies. Erwin moved his wrist slightly. He didn't know what Lucius said. This is where Tong Tong Blessing is so powerful. This spell can be said to be the strongest in the magic world when it comes to protecting turtle shells. There are only 3 ways to break all the protection. The first one is, of course, to remove all protection from within. Although Tong Tong Blessing is tyrannical, everything has 2 sides. The extremely powerful external defense force causes the internal thing to break at a touch. The second option is to wait. When all the magic attached to the protection is completely consumed, it will naturally disappear. But this time often takes more than 5 hours. The last option left is to break it by force. Tong Tong Blessing has a special characteristic. Its powerful defense comes from its repairability and the ability to distribute the power of magic to various locations. There is only one simplest and most direct problem to break all protections. That is when a strong man attacks a position with all his strength. The explosion must be enough. This is also the reason why Erwin did not let these wizards attack one point together. Because it's useless. There are a large number of wizards, and there are 2 problems when they jointly attack a point. First, you can't be sure everyone can target. The second point is that although there are many people, their shooting speeds and strengths are different, and there is no guarantee that the magic spell can be concentrated on one position of the barrier at the same time. The explosive power is simply not enough. This is also the reason why all protections can only be broken by one person. In the original book, even though Voldemort had so many helpers, he still had to do it himself. Appearing in front of people is one aspect, but another aspect is that this thing cannot be accomplished by relying on the number of people. Of course, that doesn't mean it's useless if there are too many people. With more people and more spells, the barrier is attacked more frequently, the magic power is consumed faster, and naturally it breaks faster. But by that time, even if the barrier is breached, how much magic power can everyone have left? Facing the remaining people in Yaxley, isn't it also a fierce battle? Erwin thought about it. There is a saying in the magic world that in all magic, if there is a spell, there will be a counterspell. Advertisement, even the death curse has weaknesses, such as its inability to penetrate physical objects. Then there is no spell specifically to deal with this comprehensive protection? Thinking of this, Erwin's eyes lit up. He didn't know that there was no knowledge in this area in the magic world. But don't forget, Erwin has more than one problem now. Like his portable grandma, Erwin communicated to Ravenclaw in his mind. "Your Majesty, are you there?" After a while, Ravenclaw's lazy voice came out. "Explain." Erwin asked. "Bless it all, is there any spell to deal with it?" Erwin waited expectantly for Ravenclaw's answer. After a while, Ravenclaw said, "Yes, but that is dark magic." Erwin's eyes lit up. "Black magic? Black magic is good. He has the bonus of black magic. I am worried that even if I learn other magic spells, they may not be enough. But black magic is different. Erwin's whole body is covered with black magic. That's really useful." Erwin said, "Your Majesty, can you teach me?" Ravenclaw was silent for a moment. Erwin frowned. "Is this because you don't want to teach yourself?" During that period of the Big Four, it seems that none of the Big Four were as averse to black magic as they are now. After all, they were in turmoil at that time, and black magic was their main means of fighting against the enemy. Just when Erwin was thinking wildly, Ravenclaw's voice came again. "This spell is only used to target all protection. Although it has natural restraint on all protection, it is very dangerous. This is why few people know about this spell later. If you want to learn, I can teach you. But you have to remember that no matter whether you can achieve your goal or not, there must be a trace of magic left in your body." Erwin nodded. "I understand, Your Majesty." Later, Ravenclaw taught Erwin the spell. It's different from other spells. The moment Erwin came into contact with this curse, the system directly recorded level 1. Erwin practiced these other spells for a long time, but the system would not include them, because Erwin didn't learn. Sure enough, this black magic talent is still top-notch. Erwin is going further and further on the road to being a good person, but the level 1 spell is still not enough. There was no time or opportunity for Erwin to practice the spell. At this time, you can see how prescient Erwin is. Although he can extract the proficiency of magic spells through the system, he is always used to retaining the proficiency of a spell to upgrade to level 3. Just to worry that one day when I need a spell urgently, I won't be proficient enough. Now it seems that Erwin's preparations are really necessary. Erwin called in his heart, "System, add more points." As proficiency clears, the spell Erwin just learned directly became level 3. These actions of Erwin sound very long, but in reality, only about a minute passed. Lucius and others stood quietly aside, waiting for Erwin's next move. However, in everyone's opinion, today's operation to exterminate Yaxley has basically come to an end. This is also the reason why there have been no pure-blood family battles in the magic world for so many years. Once the turtle shell is arranged, there is really no way to fight. It wastes too much time, and no one wants to waste that time with other people. Chapter 228. Lucius said, "Erwin, wait until next time. This time Yaxley is ready, you can save some strength. After today, Yaxley will not dare to tell you as long as he is not stupid. Keep going, I believe that with your talent, you will one day crush all these blessings with your own hands, and it will not be too late to destroy them by then." Erwin looked at the aqua barrier in front of him and said, "But I can't wait that long." Lucius said, "There is no way. With this level of protection, even if we attack together, when it is destroyed, most of the magic power in our bodies will be consumed. When the time comes, we will really fight, and the losses will be heavy. This is not worth the gain." Erwin said nothing. One step ahead, the wand in his hand hung upside down between his fingers, casually placed on the leg. All eyes fell on Erwin. Within the barrier, Yaxley sneered and said, "The background of a pure-blood family is beyond your imagination. If you dare to provoke the Yaxley family, just wait, we will liquidate you later." From Yaxley's point of view, Erwin had no choice. Now there is only one way to retreat. And when Erwin leaves and the Yaxley family's help arrives, it's time to counterattack. All enemies of the Yaxley family must die. Erwin ignored him. Instead, he raised his wand slightly. Yaxley sneered. "What? You still don't give up? Who do you think you are, Dumbledore? You want to break all these protections by yourself? Why do you? You are overestimating your capabilities." Lucius on the side lowered his voice and said, "Erwin, don't be impulsive. Only a few people in the magic world can defeat this level of collective protection with their own strength. Let's wait until we have the chance next time." Erwin said, "I fight for justice in the wizarding world. I fight for the honor of the Cavendi family. A turtle shell can't stop me. It can't stop my heart of seeking justice for all wizards. Today, I will break your tortoise shell, just like all the righteous wizards rush out of the clouded sky of a pure-blood family like yours." "Crush the protection," Erwin shouted angrily. The next moment, from above Erwin's wand, purple streams of light lit up, and the streams of light gathered at the front of Erwin's wand. And from the void, there are still purple rays of light that don't know where they come from, gathering together. With a powerful flick of Erwin's wand, the next moment, the purple light beam rushed directly towards the blue barrier. Within the barrier, Yaxley's expression did not change. In his opinion, no matter how hard Erwin worked, it was just sensationalism. He knew only too well the intensity of all the protection. The magic power in Erwin's body was quickly drained away by the wand like a river bursting its banks. The purple light beam became thicker and thicker, hitting the blue barrier. The two are in a stalemate. Soon, the magic power in Erwin's body had been drained. Erwin directly mobilized the backup energy source. Magic power poured into the wand, and a clicking sound came from the wand. Erwin frowned. It seems that this wand is a bit too much. Erwin could clearly feel that his wand was shaking nonstop at this moment. The body of the wand is already covered with cracks. The eyes of Lucius and others on the side widened, looking at the wand in Erwin's hand. The amount of magic power poured into it can be so overwhelming that even the wand can't bear it. What a terrifying magic power this is. Yaxley also saw the crack in Erwin's wand. A bad feeling suddenly arose in my heart. Advertisement, but then, he suppressed the thought again. He didn't think Erwin could break all the protection. Absolutely impossible. At Erwin's age, no matter how talented he is, it's impossible. But the throbbing in his heart still made him couldn't help but stare at Erwin's movements. Erwin looked at the cracked wand in his hand. I sighed in my heart. "I'm sorry, my partner. I didn't lead you to do any big things. Today, let the destruction of all the blessings be your final battle. You will not live up to your grandfather's carefully selected reputation." It seemed that he felt what Erwin was thinking. The wand trembled even more violently, and Erwin seemed to be able to feel the excitement of the wand. The next moment, Erwin only felt that the speed of the wand absorbing the magic power in his body suddenly accelerated. Click, click. Finally, Erwin's backup energy was drained, leaving only a trace. The acacia wood wand in Erwin's hand separated directly from the top toward the end. 2 pieces of acacia wood covered with scars shattered and fell to the ground. However, no one noticed them at this time. Everyone looked at Erwin's hand. In Erwin's hand, the acacia wood wand shattered. A purple wand appeared in Erwin's hand. Calling it a magic wand is a bit inaccurate. Wands are usually made of wood, but the wand in Erwin's hand now, it's like a handicraft made of amethyst. It looks great instantly. And as the person holding the wand, Erwin's feelings were different from others. He could clearly feel that the wand in his hand was not made of amethyst or glass. Erwin couldn't tell what this thing was. The cold touch and the feeling in the hand are like metal, but there is no biting coldness like metal. On the contrary, it was very warm. But what is certain is that this wand is very powerful. Erwin could feel that this wand seemed to be alive. It is in Erwin's hands, conveying its ambition to Erwin. That's right, its ambition. The ambition of a wand. It wants a hearty battle and destruction. Erwin finally knew why his wand was absorbing his magic like crazy when it was becoming more and more shattered just now. Not the acacia wand, but this amethyst wand. The acacia wood is used to wrap it, or to hide or seal it. Erwin didn't know the truth, but he could feel that the current amethyst wand was much more powerful than the acacia wand. Everyone around also looked at the amethyst wand in Erwin's hand. They even forgot the purpose of their coming here. It's so beautiful. Is this a magic wand? What kind of material is this made of? It's so dreamy. Mr. Erwin, did you use only the core of the wand? I have to say, this person's thinking is a bit strangely clear. Just when everyone was talking about it, suddenly, there was another crisp click sound. Attracted everyone's attention. Whose wand is broken again? Could it be another amethyst wand? Chapter 229. Idiot. It's not a magic wand. Look. Everyone followed the sound. The aqua-blue barrier between them is like an eggshell at this time. It started to break apart inch by inch. Yaxley's eyes widened. It's impossible. How is it possible? How is this possible? How can he break all the protection? This is impossible. However, the facts were already before him. All the protections have really been broken. It was broken by Erwin, an 11-year-old kid who had entered the wizarding world less than a year ago and was still a freshman at Hogwarts. Erwin looked at Yaxley's lost expression. A sneer appeared on his lips. Raise your arms high.
Attack.
Following Erwin's order, those wandering wizards, people from the Selwyn family, the Malfoy family, and the Parkinson family. There was a ferocious smile on their faces. The body flashed and rushed directly towards the Yaxley family. Chief Yaxley quickly shouted, "Counterattack! Counterattack immediately! Stop them!" With that said, the Yaxley family planned to take action. Just then, 3 figures directly surrounded him. It was none other than the patriarchs of the Malfoy, Parkinson, and Selwyn families. Lucius said coldly, "Yaxley, you will definitely die today." The words fell. The wand in Lucius's hand struck directly at Yaxley with a wand. Seeing this, Yaxley raised his wand in front of him, pushing aside Lucius' curse. However, he didn't wait for him to fight back. Parkinson and Old Selwyn also took action. The 2 men's spells were directed towards Yaxley. Yaxley could only disapparate and disappear. But they are both heads of the family, although Yaxley has gained some benefits by joining Solent. But facing the other 3 family heads, they are still stretched thin. Especially, there is Old Selwyn here. The Selwyn family may not be the strongest pureblood family, but Old Selwyn must be the oldest of all the family heads. When Voldemort was rampant, Old Selwyn became the only surviving family head of the previous generation. In terms of personal strength alone, Old Selwyn must be the strongest among all pureblood families. In the meantime, the magic wand in Old Selwyn's hand kept waving. He looks quite old, but he is very quick to act. The wands are all made like Gatling. One after another, the curses hit the head of the Yaxley family. The head of the Yaxley family was beaten and retreated steadily. He hurriedly resisted, and from time to time had to guard against attacks from Lucius and the Parkinson family. The head of the Yaxley family looked ugly. "You 3, do you really want to fight with me and the Yaxley family until death?" No one responded to him. What greeted him was Old Selwyn casting 3 silent curses in a row. Erwin stood there, recovering his magic power. Just watch the battle. Yaxley's defeat was sealed. The backbone of the 3 families, plus those wandering wizards who had long-standing grudges. They are all cruel. During pureblood family wars, it was even legal to kill each other. Erwin estimated that this thing should have been proposed by some generation of careerists. The reason why the Ministry of Magic doesn't care is because this is a good opportunity to weaken the pureblood family's strength. If a dog bites a dog, who will care? With the advantage of numbers, members of the Yaxley family fell one after another. The screams that came from time to time made the Yaxley clan leader's eyes widen with anger. Advertisement eyes read, "Damn, damn. You really deserve to die, Elvin Cavendi. It's you. It's all you. I'm going to kill you." With that said, Chief Yaxley operated and was about to attack Erwin. But disembodiment is fast. The other 3 clan leaders are not easygoing either. The 3 of them also disapparated at the same time and came to Erwin's side. 3 magic spells were blasted at the same time. Chief Yaxley was actually blasted out. He fell heavily to the ground. Blood was already flowing out of the corners of his mouth. Lying on the ground, Chief Yaxley looked at the tragic situation of his family. His eyes were already moist. "There is overwhelming resentment and hatred in my heart." Looking at Erwin, he felt like he wanted to eat him. On the other hand, Erwin. Old Tom was always by Erwin's side. A chair was brought to Erwin from somewhere. Erwin sat in a chair. He leaned on the back of his chair and crossed his legs. He was fiddling with the amethyst wand in his hand. Her silver-white hair swayed slowly in the breeze. It's not like they're here to exterminate the genocide, but more like they're here for sightseeing. The defeat of the Yaxley family has become a foregone conclusion. In just half an hour, everyone in the Yaxley family was cleansed. Bodies littered the ground. Yaxley Hall is riddled with holes. Trash everywhere. And Chief Yaxley. But he was restrained by Old Selwyn with a magic spell, and he threw it in front of Erwin by his hair. Erwin raised his foot and stepped on the Yaxley family head's shoulder. Overlooking the Yaxley family. "It seems that you have lost. Mr. Yaxley." The head of the Yaxley family looked at the tragic situation of his family and felt the strength from Erwin's feet on his shoulders. He said angrily, "Don't be proud of Erwin. Someone will kill you. You will die, and I will wait for you down there. You will come to accompany me soon." A bright smile appeared on Erwin's face. On this battlefield with corpses and blood all over the ground, there was something eerie and terrifying. Erwin smiled and said, "You probably won't be able to wait any longer, but your sons and your tribe are all waiting for you now, so it's time for me to send you off." Yaxley heard this. His eyes turned red instantly. Damn, you really deserve to die. I'm going to kill you." Before Yaxley could struggle, Selwyn on the side cast a magic spell directly. Yaxley was knocked directly to the ground. 0 distance contact with the ground. Erwin stomps on Yaxley's head. "You have said too many such words, but unfortunately, now you have been stepped on by me. So, Yaxley, do you have any last words?" Yaxley raised a pair of scarlet eyes and stared at Erwin. "Erwin Cavendi, I curse you. I curse you with my life. One day, you will be like me, trampled under the feet of others, and everything you cherish and care about will all perish. Your life will be taken away like an ant, including everything about you." After hearing this, the people around them had anger on their faces. I wish I could tear Yaxley into pieces. On the other hand, look at the person involved, Erwin. The smile on his face became a little stronger. "I will live well with your curse, so in return, I have decided to let you and your family disappear together." As he spoke, Erwin glanced at Selwyn, who was standing aside. Selwyn was very sensible and picked up Yaxley and threw him directly at the door of the manor. Subsequently, Erwin poured about 40% of the magic power he had just recovered into the amethyst wand. Vulcan, clear the way. Chapter 230. As Erwin's magic power was drained away, the spell was uttered. From the amethyst wand, small flames shot out, falling in various places on the Yaxley family estate. Then, small purple flames suddenly bloomed, transformed into purple flaming lotuses. The flame lotus burns nothing and devours everything around it that can burn. Strengthen yourself. The purple lotus is getting bigger and bigger. At the feet of Patriarch Yaxley, Erwin deliberately placed a lotus flower. The moment Zillion appeared, Chief Yaxley was directly swallowed by the flames. He didn't even have time to utter a scream. As Patriarch Yaxley was swallowed up by the flames, there was a clang and a crystal bottle fell to the ground, falling into purple flames. Erwin's attention was drawn. "Hey, this is a bit interesting. Nothing can't be burned by calendar fire. How can this little crystal bottle resist the burning of calendar fire?" Erwin was not in a hurry to pick up the crystal bottle, which was still on fire. He was not looking for death after this. Kalihuo didn't care who released it. As long as it was within the range, it could burn. Several purple lotuses are getting bigger and bigger. The entire Yaxley family estate was in flames. Those corpses were burned to ashes in the flames in an instant. Not long after, several lotus flowers were touching each other and start to merge, until finally, several purple fire lotuses merged into one. The entire Yaxley manor was completely wiped out under the blooming purple lotus, until all combustible materials have been burned away. This is also due to the great power of the Yaxley family. The location where the manor is located is not populated, and they are the only manor. The flames did not spread. As the flame goes out, the entire Yaxley family estate has completely disappeared. There was only blackened dirt on the ground. Not even the residue is left. In the very center of the manor, the purple fire lotus went out, burning a lotus symbol on the ground. It's like it's imprinted into the ground. There was still smoke rising from the soil. It is hard to imagine that this place was once the ancestral home of a large pure-blood family belonging to the wizarding world. Erwin came to the crystal bottle. With a flick of the wand, the crystal bottle floated next to Erwin. Erwin raised his finger and touched the wall of the crystal bottle, which felt ice cold. Under the burning conditions of Lihua, it was actually still cold. The bottle contains some blood-red liquid. Erwin held the crystal bottle and shook it gently. Advertisement: the liquid in the bottle sloshed, and under the sunlight, it had a different kind of coquettishness. Lucius came to Erwin's side, looking at the potion in Erwin's hand. Erwin wondered, "Uncle Lucius, do you know what this is?" Lucius thought for a moment and said, "The 28 pure-blood families in England each have their own heritage, which is also the reason why pure-blood families are different from other magic families, just like the Selwyn family's method of secondary magic burst. Similarly, it is said that the Yaxley family has a recipe for a magic potion. This recipe can temporarily increase the magic power in the wizard's body, but it seems to have side effects, and it is very difficult to brew. What is the specific situation? I don't know. This potion is probably that potion." Erwin frowned. "If there is such a thing, why didn't Chief Yaxley take it out against the enemy as soon as possible?" Lucius said, There is only one possibility. The side effects of this potion are so terrifying that Yaxley dare not use it casually, and he must have some backup plan, or he is confident that all the protection will not be broken. I didn't have time to use this magic potion. It's possible, but no one knows the specific situation. Erwin nodded. That's what happened. This potion is like the violent elixir mentioned in fantasy novels. It can make people desperate, but it has serious side effects. As for why Patriarch Yaxley didn't use it, Erwin estimated that it really might not be in time. After all, he broke all the protections too quickly, and it was too hard to believe. After breaking all the protection, Yaxley was besieged. There was no time to take out the medicine and use it, but Erwin thinks he can study this thing later. Maybe it will come in handy at some point. It would be best to give it to your godfather to study. My godfather is really amazing when it comes to potions. Lucius said, the matter here is over. Erwin, what are you going to do next to finish it off? Although it is a pure-blood family war, killing a pure-blood family is not a trivial matter. In closing, it will be very troublesome. Is there anything I need to do? Erwin shook his head. No, Uncle Lucius. I am very grateful to the Malfoy family for their generous action today. I will keep it in mind. As for the finishing touches, I am already prepared. Lucius nodded. That's fine. If you need it, you can send me a message directly. I will do my best to help you. I will leave with my people first. You know, the Malfoy family also has its own industry. I will take most of the people away this time, and there will be some trouble after a long time. Erwin nodded. Okay, Uncle Lucius, walk slowly. Lucius didn't waste any time and operated away with his family. Narcissa glanced at Erwin reluctantly. It wasn't until Erwin agreed to visit Malfoy Manor during the holidays that he reluctantly left. Later, the Parkinson family and Erwin also expressed their gratitude. But it is different from the selfless dedication of the Malfoy family. The Parkinson family patriarch made his own request. The Parkinson family and the Cavendi family want to become allies. Of course Erwin would not refuse. He knew very well that if he wanted to walk in the world, he could not do it by his own strength. You need a lot of help. Don't be afraid of having too many allies. As for being stabbed in the back, Erwin believed that the Parkinson family would not do this. Pansy showed her loyalty to Elle in public, and she was just such a daughter in the Parkinson family. It's impossible to stay out of it. The patriarch of the Parkinson family is also a sensible person. He only wanted Erwin's verbal promise and had no intention of letting Erwin conclude a loyalty spell with him, because he knew very well that if he proposed this idea, Erwin would reject it. Therefore, he will not ask for boredom. After the Parkinson family left, the rest are the Selwyn family and the Wandering Wizards. As for these people, Erwin has already thought about how to make a proper plan. Chapter 231. Erwin destroyed the Yaxley family, partly to establish his authority, but also to show everyone the methods of the Cavendi family. And another reason is that Erwin wants to use the destruction of the Yaxley family to tell others that the Cavendi family is here and has come to the magical world. The purpose of destroying this family is to allow the Cavendi family to officially advance into the magical world. But now, Erwin can come up with many of his plans. For example, his mobile phone company. Old Tom knew all these things, so Erwin left these things to Old Tom. Although Erwin noticed something was wrong, he could trust Old Tom 100%. If nothing else, let's just say that Old Tom has played too many roles in escaping death for so many years. Everyone who can appear in Cavendi's old house can be trusted by Erwin unconditionally. These are people who can directly entrust their lives to Erwin. After explaining these, Erwin said hello to Old Selwyn. Then he went straight back to Hogwarts. He was a little tired. There is only a trace of magic left in the body, and he personally broke all the protections twice. Erwin's body also reached its limit. No matter how good Erwin is, in the final analysis, he is still a minor. His physical fitness is on display here. Old Tom took the Wandering Wizards and the Selwyn family back to Diagon Alley. Next, there are still many things they need to do. Not long after everyone left, over the remains of the Yaxley family estate, a figure in black robe hurried over. Look at the mess below. The visitor's face changed drastically. You're late. Damn it. You useless Yaxley. You didn't even last an hour. You're so incompetent. Just then, in the void, a bolt of lightning struck directly at the man in black robe. The man in black robe's expression changed drastically. He quickly waved the scepter in his hand and placed a shield condensed by magic power in front of him. Lightning struck the shield heavily, and the shield was directly shattered. The man in black robe exclaimed, "How is that possible?" A vortex appeared, and River's figure emerged from the vortex. He held a wand in his hand. A bloodthirsty smile hung on the corner of his mouth. I finally waited for you, and I realized that you scum are not so honest. The man in black robe glanced at Rivers. There was a flash of doubt in his eyes. After a while, the man in black robe's eyes suddenly widened. It's you, Rivers Stewart. It's impossible. You've been dead a long time ago. I watched you die with my own eyes. Rivers' face was filled with a ferocious smile. Yes, I should have died a long time ago. Unfortunately, I am different from you damn scum. I have seen the magic of these magics and let us learn them a long time ago. Magic. And I found a way to use ancient magic with a wand. It was also the master who asked me to leave in the first place, just to deal with you unstable scum. The man in black robe said in disbelief. So, those people who came to the British magical world were all your fault. It was not Hogwarts who cleaned them up at all. Rivers said, yes, I did it. You scum will never have a long memory. The master said that England is a forbidden land for you scum, but you actually dare to test the bottom line of the Cavendi family again and again. So now, let's hit the road. As he spoke, Rivers tapped his wand. A bolt of lightning struck again. Advertisement, the man in black robe said coldly. I will tell the master the news, and all of you who slipped through the net will die. You are the first. The man in black robe waved his scepter, and the same lightning collided with Rivers' lightning in midair. The two lightning bolts disappeared instantly. However, the man in black robe had not yet reacted. Rivers' figure suddenly disappeared from where he was. The next moment, a green light suddenly appeared from behind the man in black robe. The green light appeared too fast, and the angle was too weird. The man in black robe didn't have time to react. He was directly hit by the green light. He fell down from the air in an instant. He fell heavily to the ground. He died before he could give his last words. Rivers sneered, scum is scum, and the master is right. Whether it is ancient magic or modern magic, they all have their merits. What we have to do is gather all the available forces. Only in this way, only then can we truly become stronger. If we remain stagnant, the only thing waiting for us is destruction. Rivers glanced at the body on the ground. With a tap of the wand, a ball of flame burst out. Wrap the body. It didn't take long for them all to be burned cleanly. Seeing that no trace was left, Rivers nodded with satisfaction. The body turned into a vortex and disappeared directly. The sight of the ruins of Yaxley Hall fell silent once more. I don't know how long it took. Another vortex appeared. Rivers left and came back. A pair of eyes scanned the surroundings. He frowned slightly. Is it an illusion? Rivers left again, however, after another few minutes. Rivers made another sudden appearance. Same steps. Not the slightest discovery. Rivers snorted coldly. It seems that he left. Is he from the Alva family? Rivers disapparated and disappeared. After Rivers left, two figures suddenly appeared on top of a cloud of ashes. The two looked at each other. One of them said, fortunately, you were smart. I didn't expect Rivers to be so smart. Another person said, there has never been a fool in the Cavendi family. We have suffered losses before. What should we do next? The tale we deliberately left behind in Germany has been discovered. Tom is not dead. According to his keenness, he will soon guess that we left the tale deliberately. By then, maybe you can guess our purpose. This generation of Cavendi is so terrifying. Did you see that, child? His magic power and his scheming are even more terrifying than those of previous generations of Cavendi. If he is allowed to grow up completely, there will be no place for the Alva family. What did the clan elders say? The old people in the clan have been scared out of their wits. They dare not show up, but whether it is you or me, we know very well that the Cavendi family will not let us go. It does not mean that we can avoid disaster by hiding. Now there is only one way. You mean? That's right, send her to Hogwarts. Although she is a descendant of the Alva family, she is also my daughter. I have to give her a way to survive. If it is really impossible to do so, she will be removed from the bloodline. At least we can get a way to survive. The other person was silent for a moment. Okay, it's up to you, but how to get into Hogwarts? I will find a way. Let's go. Before that, we need to hide it from the eyes of those old people. Chapter 232. The two nodded and then left the place. In Diagon Alley, old Tom arranged everyone according to Erwin's plan. Then he returned to the magic materials shop. In the store, Rivers was already waiting for him. Seeing Rivers, old Tom asked, is everything solved? Rivers nodded. Well, those rebellious people did send people over, and I killed them directly. However, I felt someone was snooping, and I tried but couldn't find anyone. I suspected it might be someone from the Alva family. They were the only ones. You can hide so well. Old Tom frowned. According to Alva's bloodline ability, it is indeed possible to hide under your eyes without being discovered. It seems that my guess is not wrong. The traces in Germany are deliberately exposed for them. It's what attracts others' attention. As for the Alva family, I don't know where they are hiding. Have you found anyone from the Condra family? Rivers shook his head. No. After what happened to the Teresa family, the Condra family probably received the order from the Alva family and hid it. The original industries were also given up. I changed my clothes this time. The reason why the Alva family showed up is because there are no resources in the family. After all, the Alva family has always relied on the Condra family to earn resources from outside. But now the Condra family has disappeared. They have no income. Tom nodded. Well, don't worry about them for the time being. As long as they have needs, they will be exposed and the master will find them. Rivers nodded, hesitated for a moment and said, I feel like Snape recognizes me. Old Tom said, it should just be a suspicion. When you followed the master in the wizarding world, you always wore black robes. He probably just thought you looked familiar. It's just a guess, but compared to Snape, I may have made a mistake. Wrong. I was afraid that Snape would recognize you, so I acted a little too aggressively. It might make the master suspicious. Rivers said, doesn't that mean we can confess soon? Rivers was a little excited. After all, he really wanted to follow Erwin openly and eliminate all enemies. Old Tom shook his head. I don't know. The master always has his own rules and plans for doing things. I can't say whether he will take the initiative to bring this up. Rivers said, Old Tom, you are really getting worse and worse. You have been following the master all the time. You can't even understand the master so much. Old Tom said coldly, Rivers, no one can understand the master, and no one can guess the master's intentions. If you want to die, don't drag me. The master's character is very cold, and he is completely different from the master. If the master is if it is Luan Nuanyang, then the young master is like the cold moon. Although it is equally dazzling, the master is cold. For the sake of profit, the master will not be soft on anyone. Don't try to figure out the master's thoughts, otherwise, you will really die. Rivers said sternly, I know. I didn't mean that, but don't you think the master is burdened with too much? You also saw the way the master killed people today. I suspect that the master has been unable to restrain himself. What should we do when that time comes? Old Tom was silent for a moment. No, the master can suppress it. I can feel that the master has changed too much after going to Hogwarts. There is some softness in the master's heart. As long as these softnesses exist, the master will not there will be problems, and all we can do is trust the owner. However, you have to hurry up to find the things you are looking for. Rivers said, who knows where Merlin threw that thing? It can't be found at all. It seems to have disappeared. Over the years, as long as there are similar legends, I will look for it. But every time I am disappointed. Plus it's just me, so it's hard to find. Old Tom said, try your best. I believe that even without that thing, another bloodline in the master's body can suppress it. The master can definitely do it. Okay, now that the Cavendi family has officially entered the magic world, you can let those people come out. Except for you and me, Stuart is all missing, and the master also needs some capable hands. Bring them here, and I will tell the master that those people are wandering wizards. Rivers nodded. Then I go back? Old Tom nodded. Let's clean up the inside of the family. Don't give up on the Muggle world. It will become the master's retreat and backup. Continue to arrange according to the master's plan before going to Hogwarts. If there are any problems that cannot be solved, you can use the magic spell. River's eyes lit up. Okay, I'll make arrangements right away. If you can use magic spells, it would be so easy. Old Tom said, don't go too far. Don't forget that there is a royal family in England, and the royal family also has wizards. Before the royal family takes action against us, try not to conflict with the royal family. The master has no time to spare now. Advertisement. Rivers nodded. I understand. Hogwarts, in Slytherin's chief dormitory. Erwin sat on the bed, fists clenched. There was a dense layer of sweat beads on his forehead. Beside him was a potion bottle. There is nothing in the bottle at this time. Ravenclaw hovered in the window, looking at Erwin. There was deep concern in his eyes. After a while, Erwin unclenched his fist. Lie down on the bed, breathing a little short. Throw the empty potion bottle back into the storage ring. The power of Godfather's potion to suppress me is getting weaker and weaker, Ravenclaw said. If you continue to kill like this, one day, you will be eroded by the desire to kill. Erwin smiled and said, Your Majesty, you also said that there will be a day. But now, I can still suppress this desire. I seem to have understood now why I will not suffer negative emotions when using black magic. It's affected. To be precise, it's not that it's not affected, but those weak influences are swallowed up by this weird desire to kill in my heart. Ravenclaw said, There is no way you can completely solve it. Erwin said, I know, if nothing else, this desire to kill should be related to my other bloodline you mentioned. I am very curious, what is that bloodline? Ravenclaw hesitated and said, The King's blood. Erwin frowned. The King's blood? What is that? Ravenclaw said, What is your mother's last name? Erwin said casually, Pendragon. Ravenclaw said nothing, but Erwin sat up suddenly. Pendragon, King Arthur? Chapter 233. Ravenclaw nodded. Yes, it's King Arthur. Erwin frowned. That's not right. It shouldn't be. It seems that King Arthur's descendants all died in that turmoil. There is no way that there will be any blood passed down. Ravenclaw said, That is the history of the Muggle world, Erwin. You have to understand a truth. Arthur and Merlin are very good friends. Later, Arthur was able to win the final victory because of Merlin's help. It can be said that Merlin established half of Arthur's dynasty. Erwin said, But it also makes no sense. Since it is the blood of Pendragon and the blood of the king, where does this desire to kill come from? No matter which history it is from, Arthur is not murderous. People, even Arthur's father, King Uther, although he was very cruel to wizards, he was also very good to his subjects. The most important thing is that my mother is a very gentle person. She is not like me too. Ravenclaw sighed. This starts from a very ancient legend. Do you know Morgana? Erwin nodded. Well, the eldest princess of the Pendragon family, the sister of King Arthur, is known as the most ambitious and ruthless woman in Pendragon history. The most important thing is that she is an ancient dark wizard. She was the most powerful dark wizard of that era. Even Merlin almost died in her hands. Ravenclaw nodded. Well, ancient magic is a very mysterious power. It needs to be traded with the gods in exchange for power. But in the same way, you have to have sacrifices. If you get something, you will lose something. This is ancient times. The rules of magic. Morgana is extremely talented in black magic, but being born into the Pendragon family, she has no channels to learn magic. Therefore, she can only trade with the gods in exchange for a complete black magic inheritance. And the sacrifice she paid the product is her own soul. Black magic will affect her soul, corruption, and darkness. Even her bloodline will be contaminated. The power of the gods is beyond your imagination, and the power of corruption even affects all of Pendragon. Descendants. Erwin frowned. Then why is my mother okay? Ravenclaw said, This also goes back to your bloodline concentration. Your bloodline concentration is too high, including your dragon controller bloodline and your Pendragon's bloodline. To put it simply, your bloodline concentration is too high. Your bloodline has returned to your ancestors. You are now the purest Cavendi and Pendragon. As far as I know, except for your ancestors, no one has a richer bloodline than yours, so you will be affected more. Of course, if that were the case alone, you would not be affected to this extent by the power of blood. You now have an irrepressible desire to kill. To be precise, it is because of the conflict between the two bloods in your body, although they are weird. We get along very peacefully in your body, but your Dragon Master's bloodline comes from Merlin, and your Pendragon bloodline has Morgana. These two are mortal enemies. Now your two bloodlines can coexist peacefully. To be honest, I don't know why. However, although they coexist peacefully, they still have an impact on you. Those potions you drank can only make your spirit becoming more sensitive allows you to suppress your own desires, but in fact, it has no impact on your bloodline. This is why you feel increasingly unable to suppress your desire to kill, because your bloodline is changing with each other. As you grow older, you will gradually become stronger. It will become more and more difficult to suppress you just by willpower. Erwin was silent for a moment. He understood what Ravenclaw said. He didn't expect that his life experience would be such a mess. What are these things? My parents, two feuds have come together, and then gave birth to myself, a person with half the blood of the feuding family? Now the two bloodlines have a chemical reaction, and he is the one who suffers. What's going on? Before your parents fell in love, didn't you do anything negative? Advertisement, of course, that's what Erwin said, and he wouldn't really blame his parents in his heart. Erwin said, "What will happen if, Your Majesty, if I can't suppress this desire?" Ravenclaw said, "There is no if, you must suppress it, Erwin. You should be very aware of your own strength and the speed of your progress. I can tell you clearly, if you can't suppress your ability to kill, desire, you will become a machine that only knows how to kill. When the time comes, everyone will die because of you. According to my calculation, when your bloodline is fully activated, you will be subject to a wave of bloodline counterattack. By that time, if we can solve the problem of your bloodline, everything will be easy. If we can't solve it, I'm not sure you can stop your current principle." Erwin nodded. Erwin didn't care about other people's lives or lives. But Erwin couldn't let his problems go. After all, Erwin didn't want to be the one controlled by the desire to kill. Erwin said, "Then is there any way to solve my problem?" Ravenclaw thought for a moment. "I'm not sure, but I have a few guesses. Or I can find a way to extract one of your bloodlines. For example, you can let someone from the fourth family take away your royal bloodline. The dragon's bloodline is withdrawn. That should be useful. But the power of your bloodline is too pure. Unlike that little girl, if the power of your bloodline is withdrawn, you may die directly." After hearing this, Erwin had no intention of considering Ravenclaw's idea. There was a risk of death, and Erwin said he couldn't do it. Ravenclaw continued, "The second step is to find a way to suppress a bloodline power, or to completely control a bloodline power. I think this is more reliable. If it is a complete dragon speaker bloodline and it is activated, it should be possible to suppress the power of your Pendragon bloodline, and by then, even if it cannot completely eliminate your bloodthirsty desire, it will be able to suppress it." Erwin nodded. This is indeed quite reliable. After all, the enemies are all obvious. Erwin said, "Then is there any way to make Pendragon's blood suppress the dragon controller's blood?" Erwin is a cautious person. All of his people have been hiding, and Erwin is not sure whether he can find them. So you have to be prepared. If nothing can be done, there are other ways to go. Ravenclaw said, "Of course this is possible, but you need something, the sword in the stone. This thing can help you control your Pendragon bloodline. After all, this thing is a bit mysterious." Chapter 234. Erwin frowned slightly. "The sword in the stone? I don't know where that thing is gone. It seems that the legend is that Merlin finally took away the sword in the stone. Who knows where it is?" Ravenclaw said, "That thing was made by Merlin with the scepter of the witch god. It was prepared for King Arthur. It can stimulate all of Arthur's energy. Later, King Arthur fought in the Canyon of the Dead. Arthur died in the battle, and then Merlin took it away. The king's sword was thrown into Lake Avalon, and Lake Avalon is said to be home to lake fairies. If you can find them, you should be able to get the king's sword. Of course, there is another way. That is, King Arthur's sword will be used in times of crisis. It appears again, waiting for its owner. You can wait until the sword appears on its own initiative, and then get it." Erwin was silent. In times of crisis? Who knows when times of crisis will come? The sword from Grindelwald's time will not come out, nor will the sword from Voldemort's time. Is it possible that Erwin took the initiative to provoke a crisis? There seems to be some people doing it. But Erwin doesn't know what kind of situation is a critical situation. According to what Voldemort and Grindelwald did, he must not destroy the world? Isn't this sheer nonsense? After such a comparison, it seems that it is more reliable to collect the blood of the dragon controller to synthesize the blood of the dragon whisperer. Ravenclaw looked at the silent Erwin and did not disturb him. There was something Ravenclaw didn't tell Erwin. The so-called crisis will actually come soon. The king's sword has actually appeared a long time ago, but at that time, the king's sword did not wait for its owner. In other words, in that case, a king's sword can't change much at all. Erwin bowed slightly. "I understand, Your Majesty. Thank you very much for informing me. I will find a solution later." Ravenclaw nodded. "Well, actually you still have a way, which is to completely control the power of these two bloodlines, but I don't know how to do it. Maybe only you can know this world. If you can control both bloodlines, your future will be very scary. Merlin's bloodline, plus Pendragon's bloodline. I can't even imagine that the ability of these two bloodlines to be arrogant to others is concentrated in how terrifying it would be to be completely controlled by one person." Erwin's heart moved slightly. Can you completely control both bloodlines? It's a bit exciting. The method mentioned by Ravenclaw is to suppress one of the bloodlines. A single bloodline is so terrifying. The energy of two bloodlines combined into one is so terrifying. Erwin could imagine it even if he thought about it. Sure enough, The great cause has not been achieved, and we still need to work hard. After Ravenclaw returned to rest in the diadem, Erwin went to take a bath and try to catch up on some sleep. As for class, Erwin took a leave of absence. The vacation is not over yet. Why not take a good rest? After taking a shower, Erwin changed the sheets. Lying on the bed, a wisp of breeze fluttered the curtains through the gap in the window, and Erwin quickly fell into a deep sleep. Erwin slept through the night. When Erwin opened his eyes, the bright moon is already hanging high outside the window. The whole Hogwarts was silent. The other students have gone to bed. Erwin checked the time. The house elf shouted as he took a bite of food. I felt the magic power in my body, and after a good sleep, the magic power in my body was already abundant. Even the backup energy source is already half-charged. The moonlight is just right. It's time to go see my teacher. Counting the days, today is the time for my teacher to wake up. Some things also need to be resolved as soon as possible, although Erwin told Professor Quirrell that after Voldemort wakes up, he should try to avoid letting Voldemort know the news from the outside world. But paper cannot contain fire after all. Voldemort should return to his soul state as soon as possible. That would be the biggest benefit to Erwin. Advertisement now that Ravenclaw is the portable grandma. Erwin doesn't want the Voldemort-branded grandpa anymore. However, before Voldemort became a ghost, Erwin felt that he had to find a way to get more benefits. As for how much benefit you can get, it only depends on your acting skills. Before going to Professor Quirrell's office, Erwin had to do one more thing. Erwin took out the pet egg from his space ring. I almost forgot about this crap. All I can say is that this food is so delicious that even Erwin doesn't even bother to think about it. Erwin sprinkled it with the dragon's blood he had obtained and the blood of 2 magical animals that Hagrid had obtained from someone unknown. Then, the progress bar on Dan's body suddenly rushed forward. Finally, the progress bar stopped at 97 out of 100. Erwin's face turned dark instantly. Noisy, right? Totally abstract, right? Elvin clearly calculated that this wave of progress bar can be filled directly. System, come out and explain to me the problem with this egg. Ding. After the progress bar reaches 95, the percentage obtained by the progress bar will be reduced. The current progress bar is 97, and 3 drops of the blood of high-level magical animals are needed. Erwin was speechless. Is this really the system's 2 mouths, and everything it says is correct? But the system is obviously deliberately increasing the difficulty, so Erwin has no choice. I can only think of ways to find another magical animal. But high-level magical animals? Erwin's eyes lit up. It seems that there is another thing in Hogwarts that he has never been to. Dumbledore's Phoenix. Erwin has always forgotten about the Phoenix. If the blood of the Phoenix is added, wouldn't it just hatch? But how to get Dumbledore to contribute 3 drops of Phoenix's blood? Erwin thought it was a bit difficult. Now seemed like a bad time to do business with Dumbledore. This requires some thinking. Erwin looked at the eggs on the table. Said, I hope my investment is proportional to the income, otherwise, I really want to roast you. I have already spent too much trouble on you. The egg on the table shook slightly. Erwin was happy. It seems that a living thing has been born from this egg, but I don't know what it is. Doing business with Dumbledore? Erwin felt that it was not really impossible to do anything. Erwin waved his hand and put the egg away. As long as his tricks were deep, Dumbledore would definitely be fooled. Especially in this situation, Dumbledore couldn't do without his help. At the same time, Dumbledore was somewhere far away in the woods. I felt an inexplicable chill on my back. Dumbledore frowned. Is Erwin trying something else? Dumbledore could guess who the culprit was by just using his brain, and only Erwin thought about plotting against him every day.
Thanks for watching. You can find the next videos in the playlist linked in the info card, directly on my channel, or right here on the screen. And as always, if you have any feedback, feel free to share it in the comments too.